There are actually very few games that you can play infinitely. Most games have very limited resources that is usually below 100 hours. You play this game, you complete these games, and then you move on. But there is one particular genre that is loved universally by everyone because of its unique charm, and these factory building games. Those games are fun and relaxing, which allows you to build something that is actually unique for you. It requires a unique problem-solving methods. And of course, the pioneer of this genre was none other than Factorio. Factorio came in swooping positive reviews and being almost universally loved by everyone. But Factorio had some issues, and these issues is not inherent to its game design, but it's mainly inherent to the gamer's understanding of the games. You see, many people did not like how Factorio looked, and they did not like bound to a single map, no matter how big it was. The game felt complex, and for many people it lacked, well, verticality. And many games tried to fix it, and they did it in some way. Games like My Industry, which is basically a clone of Factorio, Satisfactory, which went to the different direction to the first-person game, and with single non-procedurally generated world, and which actually managed to get more positive reviews than Factorio did. But one game, for me in particular, did it all better, and it seemed like many people are agreeing with me on that. The game that on Steam that has a higher review score than Factorio, Persona 4, Subnautica, Satisfactory, and even games like Dave the Diver and Celeste, and which has a similar rating to none other than Hollow Knight. The game that has 97% overwhelmingly positive rating on Steam, and it's only getting better and better. And what's most important, it is still in early access. And of course, I'm talking about none other than Dyson Sphere Program. You see, there are a few things why Dyson Sphere Program is such a highly reviewed game, and why almost everyone who plays it actually love it, and why a lot of devs actually hate it, because this game actually ruined the early access program for everyone. Because this game showed that early access does not have to be a broken mess, that you can make the game that it works almost universally perfectly, just being by feature additions and balance patches. And yeah, let me tell you why Dyson Sphere Program is genius, and why I can't seem to stop playing it. On a paper, Dyson Sphere Program seems to be quite simple. It's basically a Factorio, but you are doing it in space. And by space, I mean multiple planets, entire planetary systems, and multiple star systems in a single playthrough, with no loading screens between them and ability to fly directly between each other. And many might think that this will be a mess on a computer's performance, but in reality, it's not. I have no idea how they managed to run this game, but this game, for me, has absolutely no issues and no hitches. Only time that game has a small stutter, and by stutter I mean like literal stutter, it's not even loading, is when you get closer to the planets and when entire planetary surface and all the buildings that you build on it will just show up from a certain distance. It's kind of like a pop-in, but it happens like way before you're gonna get close to the planet. And by pop-in, I mean the pop-in of entire structures of thousands of buildings and tens of thousands of resources moving on a conveyor belts. And I guess this is one of the reasons why people actually love it. This game runs perfectly smoothly. And you might think that this is because of a powerful PC. Well, I was able to run it on GTX 980 without any issues. Another thing that this game has, which is pretty amazing, and it is the story. And now with the Dark Fog updates and addition of the enemies, the story got fleshed out even better. You see, in this game, you're playing in the far, far, far future. Humanity is gone. Well, at least in a form that we know them today. Now, star systems and galaxies are being colonized for the resources by the robots that are sent by humans. And your goal is to create matrices. And matrices are the cubes that contain different type of information. And your overall goal is to create so-called universe matrix, a white cube, and build a few thousand of this. So yeah, you can actually win this game. But in order to do so, you need to utilize a lot of resources, not just from a single planet or from a single star system. You need to create the resource networks between star systems and entire stars. You need to consume entire stars in order to have enough resources to research it. And that moves us to the next phase of why this game is amazing, and it is an exploration. You see, every star system and every planet in this game is unique, except maybe from a star planet, which is always a Mediterranean planet. Every star system is different, and every planet is unique. You have dozens of unique planetary types, which are not different just by the continental composition, but by its actual composition as well. You will see many gas giants with the moons. You will see lava planets, ice planets, tidally locked planets, ice-filled planets, barren desert planets, Gobi planets, and every single one of them will not just have a unique topography, but unique resources, which is unique to them. And you will need all of those planets. And the differences are not just in the planets, but in the stars as well. Different stars output different types of energy and can be utilized in different ways. And when you will unlock first interplanetary travel, you will quickly forget all the things that you need to do and go and explore your star system. And the same will happen when you unlock your warp drive. And when you will just have an ability to travel any star system that you want. Technically, you are actually not restricted to do it from the very beginning, so you can actually go and leave your initial star system system pretty much from the get-go, the issue is that the travel from one star system to another will take quite a lot of time and a lot of fuel. It's not impossible, it just takes a lot of time and is a little bit difficult. And the amazing thing with all those different planets is that there's always something to do, and that something is, well, up to you. You see, just like in every other factory building game, the gameplay that you do is unique to you because you can focus on multiple different things. You can focus on building the planetary defenses right from the get-go, or you can focus on building resource extractions throughout the entire star system or star systems, or you can focus on production lines of everything while building nothing yourself, or focusing on building everything yourself while everything else is just getting resources to you. While technically you cannot actually choose only one playstyle, you need to mix and match because some things cannot be built on your onboard assembler, like for example some chemical resources. How effectively you progress is purely up to you. And speaking of progression, this game actually has very distinct stages of progression, and these distinct stages usually are dictated by matrices, and you have multiple different matrices, and depending on what stage you are, you need to build different types of matrices. For example, the blue matrix, the first one, requires only very basic resources and very basic manufacturing to, well, manufacture them and move on to the next stage, which is the red cubes. Red cubes will require a little bit more complex resources, even though they are not that difficult as well. Like for example, red cubes will require hydrogen, which requires oil extraction and refining this oil into refined oil and a hydrogen. And you will also need this refined oil because refined oil is used in a bunch of chemical products, like in the production of plastic. But after red cubes, when you move on to the yellow cubes, now you will basically required to go interplanetary because the titanium that is required for the yellow cubes is not available on your starting planet. You need to move on to the other planets, and that basically forces you to go interplanetary. And the same goes for the silicon as well, because silicon is not available on starter planets. And then you move on to the purple cubes, then to the green cubes, eventually getting to the white cubes, which is basically an end game. And these distinct stages of building different resources can last as long as you want it to last. But all of this does not sound like very challenging, right? You can take as long as you want in order to, well, create the resources that you wish. Except that with the newest update of the game, it's not true anymore, because now game actually has an enemies as well. Now you need to actually confront so-called dark fog, which is a hostile AI that is trying to find your activity and destroy it. And at first they're not very hostile, but as you build up different resources, they will feel it and they will see you as a threat and will start sending you waves of enemies to fight you. You can actually destroy all the bases on your planet, but unless you will populate the planet entirely, they will start building new bases. And when you destroy their base, well, they will still have their bases on other planets, and they will also have a stellar base around the star. So you need to actually progress far enough to build planetary defenses and even prepare for the stellar and interstellar warfare. And all this in a single playthrough lasts quite long. The single playthrough can last as little as 60 hours and can go up to 120 and 150 hours now with an addition of a dark fog. But even when you complete everything, and when you decide to start a new game with a new star cluster and completely new resources, you don't need to actually start from the very beginning, because the game has so-called metadata which you accumulate and allows you to unlock different researches early on, meaning that you don't need to start new game from absolute zero. And all of those small things combined with an excellent performance of the game and constant updates and additions to the game makes this game completely irresistible. And that's why 97 out of 100 people who play this game actually loves and enjoys it. Game is a dream of a space nerd and anyone who likes to use their brains and their creativity in order to progress through those games. And that's why Game is genius, and I think not enough people actually know about this game despite it having such a high ratings. And if you're one of them and want to know more about this game, don't forget to check my review about this game right here. And it's a bit old and does not include combat updates, but it's still pretty relevant. Or you can let YouTube decide what to watch right here. Oh yeah, and don't forget to subscribe as well. Take care.